Hi everyone, this is Mike Andrews. I'm CEO here at NovaBACKUP Corporation. I'd like to thank you all for attending today. Well, we respect that you're giving us your valuable time, and we'll do our best to get to the point and make your time worthwhile. So, some quick housekeeping before we get started, and while we're waiting for some of you to get online. I just want to cover a few issues here. So we will aim to keep the presentation below 45 minutes, leaving some time at the end for questions. So we will have a question period and answer at the end of this session. Also, so stick around for that. But also, we're going to be doing a demonstration during the presentation, and uh, we'll welcome questions on the fly as we go, just so we can cover those while we're in the demonstration. The event will be recorded and automatically sent to anyone who is registered, so you don't have to worry about that. Also, at the end of our presentation, we're going to have a call to action, which will be providing you the ability to schedule a free, no commitment session with our cloud business manager, Adam Stufflick. I stress that he's not a salesperson, so there's no pressure tactics here. He is an important member of our technical team. He's also worked several years for an MSP focused on cloud backup, so definitely been in your role. You can discuss anything that we go over today, or just pick his brain on the industry in general. I highly recommend that you take advantage of that opportunity. So his information will be shown at the end. So I guess we'll get started. The topic today is an introduction to NovaBACKUP Cloud for MSPs. So NovaBACKUP is a premier hybrid local and cloud software as a service backup solution for professional offices. Our differentiator is making business easy and safe and affordable for MSPs, targeting the highly regulated vertical markets that are held to strict compliancy requirements. Today's webinar will be the first in a series that we're starting, supporting our NovaBACKUP Cloud SaaS technology. This is the introduction, so this will be NovaBACKUP Cloud 101, if you will. With these types of events, we typically prefer to just share our industry knowledge with minimal self-promotion. Although today there will be it'll be a little different, as we're trying to set the foundation so you can fully understand not only our product but our go-to-market strategy and our philosophy regarding setting up our partners for the best chance of success. So we have plenty to share, and we're going to be going over some interesting pricing and licensing models later as well. And we're hoping to bring that market several new options and bring our business to a new level with that. Future webinars in this series will take advantage of our decades of experience working with MSPs to launch thousands of backup services. We'll also be calling on expert guest speakers to help cover topics like industry trends, technical deep dives, tips on navigating vertical markets, as well as regulatory compliance like HIPAA and things of the sort. So stay tuned, and we'll definitely keep you in touch with that. So I'm presenting today with Nathan Fouarge, our VP Strategic Solutions, the technical brains of our organization, basically. Nate has been working with MSPs and even as an MSP for nearly 20 years. He has helped launch hundreds, if not thousands, of backup services and experienced firsthand what separates backup SaaS successes from failures. He'll come in during the second half of the presentation to probably wake you up and give you a break from me. He'll be going over product features, a demonstration, and explanation of our onboarding process. So being an introduction, I wanted to start with the company behind the technology. Some of you may be familiar with the name NovaStore Corporation. NovaStore is the parent company of what we're now calling NovaBACKUP Corporation. So we created NovaBACKUP Corporation to have a business entirely focused on and committed to helping MSPs launch and grow successful SaaS backup services. The name NovaBACKUP was derived from the product name of one of NovaStore's core and most recognizable product lines. So NovaBACKUP now has its own leadership, strategic direction, website, and business philosophy. So under NovaBACKUP, the products are NovaBACKUP and NovaBACKUP Cloud. For older customers, you may recall that the cloud product has gone by several names in the past, including BackupNet, NovaNet Web, Remote Workforce, and XSP. So if you have any of those solutions, this is a carry-on of those solutions. NovaBACKUP without the cloud is our local component, And NovaBACKUP Cloud, and along with NovaBACKUP, are a single product architecture with all functionality coming from the same base code. So it's modularly activated by license code. So the complete functionalities in one solution. The company may be new, but the people and technology behind it are pioneers in the data backup, cloud backup industry. We were the first Windows-based backup for local and cloud backup systems. Long before the term MSP or broadband, for that matter, even existed. We started basically in the age of dial-up. Our first customers were 14.4 baud modems. We were actually the backup solution for AOL that they used a long time ago when they actually had 50 million customers. So we're truly pioneers. We've been around for a long time and understand this market substantially. Our local or on-premise backup has been distributed to millions of licenses, and we have distributed millions of licenses, and our cloud-based SaaS offering has enabled thousands of service providers to run their own backup service. And all that experience that I've mentioned here carries forward to the new company. On top of that, we are a US-based company. All of our development, customer service, and support are all run by our own US-based employees. We do not outsource, and our support is not operated via template. Actually, regarding support, we don't hire junior technicians. MSP and IT admin experience are a prerequisite for any technical person working here. So we want to make sure that they've had time walking in your shoes, because it helps us better understand the challenges, your challenges and needs. So we also have tons of experience with vertical markets and have been certified HIPAA compliant by the Compliancy Group. We currently back up over 30,000 dental offices and have many partners that focus on other verticals in healthcare, financial, utilities like oil and gas, and legal professional offices. So overall, our strategy as a company is to be easy for MSPs to do business with. So this is a list of the NovaStor solutions that we have. I'm going to be focusing on the top two during this presentation, but I just wanted to show you that we do have more. They cover the complete data protection spectrum. So another differentiator we kind of provide is that we'll never try to fit a square peg into a round hole and try to make our solution work for you, because we do have other solutions that will work, and we will provide free consultative architectural overviews to determine your requirements and point you towards the right solutions. And even if it's not ours, there's several times we have recommended that people use other solutions. Obviously, that's not our goal, but we're very open and honest, because we know if we go down the wrong road to start with, it's not going to end well. So once again, my focus here today is on the top two, but I just wanted to share that we also have enterprise backup, archive, and long-term data retention solutions in our arsenal. These solutions compete with the likes of Commvault, Veritas, ArcServe, Veeam, IBM Spectrum, and we have although we have the ability to scale higher than most of those solutions, and we have actual customers who push us to hundreds of petabytes of data. So we have several MSPs out there that are using these tools, as well as our online backup service SaaS solution. They're using these tools to back up their data centers and hosted servers. So some of our customers include NASA, Pfizer, T-Systems, and a very large autonomous vehicle company that has been the one that's pushed us well into the hundreds of petabytes of data with all of their videos and recordings. So just wanted to let you know there's more out there for NovaStor. So if what we talk about today isn't a total fit, we probably do have a fit there. I just want to make you aware of that. But once again, today's focus will be on the cloud solution or software as a service solution. So I wanted to start off with sharing some insights that we see today, some of the trends that are happening in the MSP market and that we've been seeing lately. Being a technology vendor that sells to many MSPs, we see the world from a similar, albeit slightly different perspective. We talk to several MSPs, as well as participate with tools like Reddit or Spiceworks and systems like that. This gives us a good cross-section in the industry and a unique view into its trends. So one of the trends is the transition to remote work environments and dependency on cloud solutions. We all know that business, the way we know it, is forever changed. This has expedited the concept of working from home, and mostly thanks to businesses like yours. On the surface, the transition was actually quite seamless. This change obviously brings with it increased exposure to cyber threats. There's more entry points. That means endpoint protection has never been more necessary or critical for the critical data in our lives. Also, IT brings it brings realization that businesses can't manage their own IT for a change of this magnitude. And an increase in remote working tools like Zoom. That stock, I wish I would have bought it. It's up 400% right now. These tools don't set up themselves, and that's where you guys come in. And these also need to be centrally monitored and managed. And later in the presentation, Nate will be going over one of our tools called CMON during the presentation, that you get to see that. Another trend that we're seeing is that MSPs are now extremely busy. That's not really a news flash, I guess. In many cases, they're also understaffed. We kind of know this because it's difficult setting up time to meet with you. Everything from your customers now is urgent. There is limited technical talent available, and many of you are electing to stretch yourselves before taking on the investment of new staff. You're too busy to interview and train, and there is no guarantee that the pace will continue to justify the extra cost. This is where vendors can help. You need us to step up and be ready to take on some of the burden. And at NovaBACKUP, we're happy to put your hat on and help when necessary. So another trend is I have renegotiation or pricing renegotiation, and unfortunately, busy, which I mentioned as a previous trend, doesn't always mean more money. And actually, I've just read a recent study that shows that most MSPs are expecting to be flat this year. So a lot of businesses are going down. So flat is good in some ways, but if they are a lot busier, it doesn't necessarily mean more money. Existing customers are trying to stretch more out of what they're currently paying. Whether they need to or not, they're just taking advantage of the situation. In some cases, companies are being pressured to increase to increase spend because of all the requirements, but they're also being pushed to decrease their budgets. So it is difficult to add or justify services like backup if you don't already, when you're in survival or maintenance mode. But these additional services are needed now more than ever. So the need still hasn't left. It's probably more important now. But this is forcing MSPs like yourselves to look at alternative vendors, different solutions, pricing, or business models to mitigate the depletion of profits. So the next trend we see is increasing accountability. This is actually a pretty bad one in my opinion, but it increases your stress. We see it every day. When something goes wrong, it's easier to blame the service provider. We have a customer in the healthcare vertical that was hit with ransomware. That was one of their end users clicking a link. And prior to this, they wouldn't approve the MSP budget for tools necessary, and were warned several times about the exposure and huge risks that they were taking. After they got hit, they ended up paying several $100,000 in ransom, and after almost a year, they're still not fully recovered. Somehow they managed to avoid HIPAA fines, which was good for them because of the breaches. But to do it right from the beginning would have been a fraction of the cost if they would have just listened to the MSP. They now use a new MSP, so they pretty much blamed the old one, and now they've even approved the budget for the equipment that the old one was recommending in the first place. But somehow the same manager who made the poor decisions in the start is still in charge. So security risks are at an all-time high. Ransomware is taking advantage of the situation, is unfortunately attacking industries like healthcare when they're already being pushed to the limit right now. So having a complete backup solution in place is the only surefire way to protect against this threat. Nate, did you want to add anything to that at all?
Yeah, a little bit on this. So, I mean, over the past year, I mean, we've seen the ransomware guys and everything else, and CryptoLocker and what have you, starting to target MSPs. Specifically vertical MSPs that I know of one MSP in the Midwest that had something like 600 or 700 dentists or something like that. They got targeted, and a lot of their end users got crypto-lockered or basically ransomware, what have you on it. And that trend of people targeting people that have money, and have whether it's cyber insurance or what have you, is increasing. and we've also seen, these ransomware people going after, federal government, local government, state government, the people that might be contracting to an MSP that, but they're not giving that MSP the real, enough money or enough reign to actually do everything. And to compound this, I saw a article yesterday from MSP Alliance where the state of Louisiana has just passed a law where MSPs that are managing infrastructure or end user systems for public bodies, what's a public body compared to, in Louisiana's view, any of those MSPs that are managing any infrastructure or end user systems for public bodies has to register with the state. And part of that registration also is disclosure of any cyber incidents or ransomware payments that the MSP has done. So even if you didn't have to disclose it via HIPAA or what have you because everything was good, or it was a mitigated attack, you still have to disclose even this incident that was mitigated to the state of Louisiana. And this isn't going to be something that is going to stop with Louisiana. I mean, this is going to go, I'm sure, through the entire country on this, and it's going to be yet another thing that MSPs have to take into consideration of, when they're actually taking on a customer. Is it worth the effort? And if it is worth the effort, how do you cover yourself? How do you make sure that you're protected? And how do you make sure that you can recover so you don't have to pay ransomware payments and everything else? It's an interesting world that we live in the ransomware and crypto locker world.
Yeah, it's crazy. So, okay. Well, that's yeah, that's definitely another weight put on the shoulders of the MSPs, and we're here to help as much as we can. The last bullet point I have here too, it's a little extreme. It's not exactly the case, but what we're seeing, especially over the last few years, and especially now, it's been fast forwarded over the last few months, is kind of legacy equals extinction in a way. And when I talk about legacy, is we're seeing that resellers who don't offer managed service models are paying the largest price. While our MSP business at NovaStore has increased drastically, especially in the last quarter, our traditional break-fix margin-dependent resellers have had over a 40% decrease in business with NovaStore since the COVID-19 started. So definitely managed services are in higher demand, and some of these smaller businesses were struggling to start with, but now they're even having a harder time because their customers aren't knocking on their doors and they're waiting for funds as they fix the breaks, instead of having a recurring revenue model. So definitely the MSP is the right track to go, even with some of the obstacles that Nate has pointed out that you have in front of you. So back to our product a bit. So why is NovaBACKUP the right solution for MSPs? And of course, we have a million points that we say, but we're a little biased on that side. But in general, just a backup solution is a natural extension to your business. So whether you already offer a backup solution that you wish to migrate away from, or you're looking to add hosted backup to your repertoire, if done correctly, it's a highly lucrative and sticky solution to offer. We have some partners that make substantial revenues. We have one of our largest partners makes in the millions of dollars of revenues from the backup service they're offering. And I would say the attrition rate, we're talking that the customers they lose per year net versus the ones they gain is probably the retention rate is in the high 90s percentile. So it's a very sticky business once people get that taken care of. Backup's one of those things people just want to kind of make sure they know it's working, but put it in the background. And so once customers are happy that they're covered or they're dealing with their compliancy issues, they want to just move on and focus on their business. So it's a great business opportunity if you're not in it already, but if you're also in it with another solution that isn't doing it for you, we're always around for that too. We do have a full transition service that our team works with. Also, we're making you more competitive. Our licensing and pricing models that you'll see soon are designed to minimize your out-of-pocket commitment and put more money back in those pockets. So we set up a minimum goal to ensure that we're working with only those that are serious and who want to grow a successful extension to their business. What I'm calling 360-degree support. As mentioned earlier, we'll even go as far as putting our hat on to help face your customers, and we'll be there through every phase of our relationship. So that's from proof of concept to onboarding and training to ongoing health checks and proactive support. So this business is not to us a one and done. We don't, not like a lot of competing solutions. We don't throw away the rearview mirror once we get your initial sign on. Your ongoing success is directly related to ours. So closing this deal is basically just the beginning of our relationship. Another advantage to the NovaBACKUP product is a single solution. So we've seen many MSPs offering 3 or 4 different backup solutions, each serving a different purpose. Sometimes this is their level of security to not have a dependency on a single vendor, but a lot of times they're just not aware of what the different products can do, and we can do most of the things they require. So we've helped several MSPs consolidate and simplify over the years to just our solution. So backup, once again, is only an extension of your business. It performs a critical task, but it should be automated and not eat into all of your time. Being easy to do business with, that's something we take pride in. And if you ever find we're not, please bring it to our attention, because our team, as I said before, comes from your world. We understand your requirements and do our best to remove complexity. We know that you don't have the time to do things like track and report your own usage like some tools require. Our product is all inclusive, meaning that we don't charge you for every additional feature or support request. Each team member is encouraged to work with you to determine the model that best suits your business and has the power to negotiate without seeing the man behind the curtain, or myself or Nate, I guess you could say. So our complete flexibility is what we try and bring to the table with our product. And by that, I mean, this is what separates us from the pack, in my opinion, is knowing that your business and abilities better than anyone else. So, and seeing that our success is tied to yours, we want to give you the best opportunity to do this on your terms. So it's a terrible graphic, but we do this by running a cookie cutter, but by not running a cookie cutter business. So we all know that this is much easier for a vendor to manage, but we're all in this to maximize revenues, and sometimes working with a template presents obstacles. So first off, we bring the product to the table, and we're very flexible here. We can offer local backup alone with image recovery, cloud backup, or a hybrid of the two. We can also present this in our brand or in yours. One of our customers actually designed their own offsite backup tool, kind of an FTP, but they want to go with that, and so they only license our local backup solution. So we can do that for them. Our product architecture allows for this level of flexibility. Our NovaBACKUP is software only. Although we will be offering a turnkey appliance very shortly, we'll have that available to you, but we're not locking you into our appliance. We can also help you build your own equipment. We can just give you the recipe to do so. So we're in the data protection game, and so we don't want to force inferior hardware on you in order to use our service and force you to be locked in. On the hosting level, you can have NovaBACKUP host your data for you in our cloud, or you can self-host. We don't lock you into using our storage. We're not trying to control everything unless you want us to. You can use our data center or have us host the data for you you can use your own data center or have us host the data for you in our US-based world-class data center. So with either option, you still manage and control access to your customer relationships. On the licensing side, we have customers that license per server, per volume by gigabyte, or a hybrid of the two again. We understand that each MSP is different and charge their customers different, so our licensing flexibility makes it so you don't have to necessarily change. And sometimes even within a MSP, you might change different customers differently, so we keep that in mind. And pricing, much like the licensing side, we can charge you based on the number of licenses or make it usage based, or even in some cases it's been more beneficial for our customers to have flat fee buckets that they can just keep loading their customers into based on the amount of storage. So that kind of highlights the flexibility of NovaStore. And just kind of going through this slide here, we're not going to name names or anything or competitor bash or anything like that, but some of the differences that we have are the no startup fees. We have a flexible pricing plan. So as I said, we're very, very flexible working with our partners. You pay as you grow. There's one of the key differentiators that's kind of overseen here is that we pretty much provide, if you sign on as a cloud partner to us, you get unlimited local storage. And there is one competitor out there that is charging for local storage as well per gigabyte. I believe it's something like 6 cents per gigabyte. And we know that with local storage, many times especially when you're doing image recovery and things, you could have terabytes of data. And then for the critical data that you're putting offsite in the cloud, to have your 3-2-1 backup model going, that information is typically, most of our customers range in the 250 to 500 gigabyte range for a professional office. Sometimes they can go up to and above 1 terabyte, but we only charge for the cloud-based storage, and we don't charge for the local storage. So that's actually a huge differentiator if you're considering solutions right now. Another differentiator is we do all features included. We don't nickel and dime. It's whatever our product can do, you have access to immediately, no matter what program you're on. So what I'm going to do, that's kind of wraps up my portion of the presentation. So as promised, I'll hand control over to Nathan Fouarge, and he'll bring you home. Nate, you want to get started here? I'll just change the slide.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Thanks, Mike. Yeah. So there's a lot of features in NovaBACKUP. You can do image-based backups. You can do an image-based backup to like a VHDX or VHD. So you can have a local BDR type device on site and bring up that VM as a Hyper-V machine. That's all included. You can do granular recovery of files. You can do, all of these things, Exchange, SQL, VMware, Hyper-V. It's all included within the product. Some of the normal questions I get from MSPs when we're talking about the software itself is, how does encryption work? How does everything work on that? So all of the data that's getting sent to the cloud is being compressed and encrypted locally, and then sent over an encrypted connection to either our cloud servers that we host, or if you're hosting cloud servers on your side. And one of the things that differentiates us from some of the other products out there is, which is good and bad, is the data is held on the storage servers on the cloud side in a compressed encrypted format. So that means cross-customer deduplication doesn't really work that well because everything's encrypted with typically a different encryption key. So you can't really dedupe that well on that. But what we do is we've coined the term fastbit. Fastbit is basically our block level incremental or dedupe when we're sending data to the cloud. So say a customer has a 300 gig SQL database or something like that they're backing up. The initial backup is always going to be that 300 gig to the cloud, and then every subsequent backup of that is just going to be the changed parts of that. So it might be just a couple gig or something like that, maybe 10, 20 gig, depending on how busy that customer is. So it really helps reduce the amount of space that you're using on the cloud, along with reducing the time on the wire. I mean, like Mike said, this product originated in the modem days, and I used this product back as an MSP in the modem days. So it's always been very bandwidth conscious, and really working well with people that have less than stellar connections, let's put it that way, because we still have a lot of them. I work with MSPs every day that have interesting customers that don't have good uploads. They might have a decent download or what have you, but that upload is, maybe a meg or something like that, and it's still reasonable to do. even on the larger side, so say a customer needs it's a 2 terabyte dentist or something like that. They have a bunch of medical X-rays and what have you. Instead of sending that over the wire, you do a local seed, ship that seed either to your host to import it, or you ship it to us to import it on our cloud side. There's no fee on that or anything like that. All we ask is you pay for basically shipping. So we don't charge you extra on that. And then, initial seed, import it on the cloud, and then every subsequent backup is just an incremental from forever from that point forward. The other obvious question is, okay, I have this 2 terabyte customer up in the cloud. Something happens, their local backup dies, they get CryptoLocker somehow, or someone steals all the hardware, which we've seen. I need to get that data back right away. It's basically just you calling up and saying, hey, I need to do send me all the data on a USB drive, or depending on the size of the customer, we figure out what makes the most sense to ship to you, and basically just charge you what our hardware cost is and shipping cost. So we've had some interesting cases over the last year where hey, I need this tomorrow morning by 8 a.m. and we've used FedEx courier service and got it to them by that time. So it's truly a full service on the back end if you're using our cloud service, and then if you want to host it yourself, you're more than happy to. Again, like Mike said, everything that the product can do is licensed for you. There's nothing that is excluded or anything like that with the licensing at all. At this point, I just want to give like a very brief overview and demo of the software. If you have any questions, like during the demo of the software or anything like that, please just ask in the question thing, and I can certainly go through that if I'm missing something or something that you want to specifically go over.
Okay, thanks. And I'm going to hand control over to you right now.
Okay, cool.
You got it?
Yep, it is good. All right. So the first thing you should be seeing is what we call our CMON, our Central Monitoring Console. This is where you would look at all the logs and all this other stuff for your agents that are out there, create backup cloud storage accounts, and be able to drill deep into things. So here's the basic dashboard. You can do filtering on here, so you can say, hey, if I have hundreds of machines here, I can say, hey, I want to see everything that starts with this, and it'll filter down and just show me that. I can drill into this particular agent. I can see how much. I can see basically the history of this, view any logs that are on this particular machine, along with seeing some device history, some local device, so how much free disk space and everything else is on this machine. When I'm first starting out, though, so say I onboard a new customer, the first thing I would want to do is basically install the agent software. So the agent software is going to be right here. And with this agent software, the first thing that's going to come up when you install it is basically saying, okay, pay. You need to attach to a cloud storage account or create a new cloud storage account. So in this case, I'll just create a new cloud storage account. 618. And this password right here, it's going to by default be the encryption key of all the data that's going to be sent to the cloud. You can specify a separate secret encryption key also, so you don't need to specifically use that cloud encryption key that you set there. So if I go into the device tab here for cloud storage, this is basically all of the details of how that was connected and everything like that. And here is where you can set the separate encryption key if you want. along with some other advanced options here. So I can limit the bandwidth that it's using. I can do that staged or seeding backup along with that local restore from that encrypted data that's been sent from the data center to myself via like a USB hard drive. In the software itself, normal backup tree view type thing. So say I want to open a previous backup job that I have set up here. It just has a couple things selected here. It's in this case backing up to the cloud storage, which is fine. But I could say I want to save this and schedule this to run daily. Just run as the logged in user and say run that at 11 p.m. And then say I want to take the same backup job, but instead of sending it to the cloud, I also want to put this to like a local USB. In this case, it's a removable drive, so I'll just put it there, and then I can save this as, say, my local backup or something like that. And then I can schedule that as a different thing. So I can, that's as simple as that for scheduling most normal people. It's going to schedule it for my local backup along my cloud backup, and you can have them. One of the other questions that I get asked quite a bit is, what if my local backup isn't done by my time the cloud backup kicks off? If there's a collision in scheduling time or what have you, whatever is supposed to run is going to actually wait for the other one to run, finish, and then it'll run after that. If you want to specifically have this particular guy run at a specific time, you can do that and tell it to stop after a number of hours or what have you. There's a lot of stuff, in this client, so I could go through imaging backup and how you can do a local image to a VHDX and that type of thing, or any of the other options within the software. I could probably spend an hour just going through all of the features and functions within the software, but I just wanted to give you a brief high-level overview of initial setup on a client, that type of thing. So with that, I'm going to hand it back to Mike for presentation, and I think there's just a couple more slides that I have, and then we can go from there. If there's any questions, please let me know.
Okay, thanks, Nate. Yep. I think I have it back.
Yep, you do.
All right. So thanks for the demo. So yeah, here, continue on here.
Yeah, this is the basic portion of what I just kind of went over. So say if you're a new MSP that's onboarding with us, the first thing that we do is we do training of how to onboard new customers, onboard and install and configure the software, creating the cloud storage accounts. All of this is included. There's no professional service or training fee or anything like that. This is getting on the phone with one of my guys to go over how this is going to work, because honestly, the more you guys know, the less time you have to spend out of my support guy's time, and the easier it is on you just to just get going and that type of thing. It's how to deploy the software. There's many different types of ways to deploy the software. If you're using an RMM that has scripting abilities, you can deploy it via that. If you want to use like PDQ deploy, that works perfect with our product too. Any of these things. We'll show you how to manage the backups. We have a huge knowledge base that my guys work on, with a lot of good videos, a lot of good just walkthroughs of common things that we come across. And it's really just anything that we come up with, we typically make a knowledge base article on, or a video, depending on how complex it is. Because if one MSP is running into it, another one's going to run into it, so we might as well document it correctly, so it is easier for you guys to help serve yourself if you need it. I think the next slide.
Yeah, so I guess we did promise to try and keep this under 45 minutes. So this is the home stretch. I'll be quick on this to get you there, and then we'll get straight to questions. And before moving on to questions, we just want to make sure you leave with a few of these key takeaways. And so NovaBACKUP is the most flexible hosting or licensing and pricing that a solution has on the market, and it makes us easy to do business with. We specialize in vertical markets and are HIPAA certified. We support tens of thousands of professional offices and practices. We have a fully NovaBACKUP employed US-based team, product and data center. So in these times, sometimes you need to ask, where are our competitors coming from? And we, everything that's going on in the world at this point, we're proudly trying to keep everything US based without outsourcing. And also, we're in this with you, so your success is ours. Use us every step of the way, myself included. We do let all executive level, Nate, myself, anybody be available to help you at any time, just need to ask. So we really appreciate your time today. We are now opening up for questions, and then we'll immediately share Adam's contact information so you can set up a no pressure session with him. So thanks again. So we're open to questions right now.
Good question. Do you offer Mac support? Currently, no. It's Windows only for this product. So yeah, Mac is one of those things where we don't have any near-term solution for at this point. Is your local backup service in other countries? Yeah. So the local backup you can use in whatever country you want to use. We have, Mike, how many translations are there? There's something like 12 or something like that.
Yeah, I think it's translations. 13 or 14. Some of our
13 or 14
relationships force us to have several translations. So we cover definitely most of the major languages.
Yeah, exactly. Question, if I don't want to sign up as an MSP and I just want to put some of my customers directly on the NovaBACKUP Cloud, can I do that and sign up and do it that way? Yeah, you can certainly do it that way. If you don't want to pay a minimum fee and do as an MSP type thing and just want to sell directly to your end users, or if you are an end user and want to back up to our cloud, there's an option within the software to purchase on that, and yeah, it's the same software. So yeah, we can certainly do that. Canadian. Do you guys have a Canadian data center? Currently not. Currently the data centers that we utilize are in the US only right now. That could change.
Yeah, we are actually in talks with a few potential partners to get that started. We never try and sell vaporware or futures, but coming in the future, there's going to be a lot more flexibility with hosting as well. Where we're going to expand more to the public cloud infrastructures, which should open up more countries and the ability to host data there.
Yep, absolutely. A question on the appliance stuff. Yeah, if you're interested in what we're coming up with on the appliance stuff, just shoot Adam here an email or talk to him. It's going to be coming out pretty soon. We're just finalizing some things, and we're not building hardware or anything like that. We are going to utilize some OEM hardware, that type of thing, but we can also tell you what you kind of need to build this, basically build it yourself too, like Mike said.
I think it's a good point, Nate, is that we are OEMing this from a hardware partner because we're a backup software company. Our strength is in building software, and we do have great partnerships with companies whose strengths are in the hardware side. And when you do, when we do launch these appliances, all of the advantages of dealing with them come with it, like these sometimes up to 3 to 5 year warranties on the products, the next day service, things like that. It's all stuff that a software company really can't offer, and we will have this all available to you. It's taking advantage of their systems.
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, Billing. Okay. How does billing work, and do I need to? I think Mike brushed over this, but I'll go a little bit deeper on it. Some other products out there, you need to like submit a bill every month or something like that, submit your usage and that type of thing to actually get an invoice and be billed. Ours is um, basically automated. You'll get a invoice at the end of the month. It'll just charge your credit card. You'll get your invoice with the usage that it's been tracking and that type of thing. You don't have to do anything. There's no back and forth or anything like that on that. So
Although
it's very, very simple.
although they do have access to see the same information they're being
Oh
billed
yeah,
on.
yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's not magic behind the scenes. No, you get to see what you're actually being billed on. Yeah. Question about bare metal recovery from local. Okay. So our bare metal recovery or image backup, there's a bunch of different options within it. You can do it as a proprietary format where you can, do an image to a NovaBACKUP proprietary format, or you can do an image directly to like a VHDX, which you can import into Hyper-V, or there's converters to VMware or what have you, or even some of the other free hypervisors out there. So you have a lot of options there. So you can do that. When you put it in the I'll call it the proprietary NovaBACKUP format, there is a boot disk, a Windows PE boot disk that you can produce with USB or flash or what have you, and boot from that, and it's the normal, recovery like you'd see with Ghost, Acronis, or any of the other guys that are doing image-based backup recoveries. So you can recover, bare metal recovery from that. Yes. Looks like I might have got through most of the questions. If there's any other questions that you guys have, please let us know.
We'll definitely get back to you afterwards if we don't
Yeah.
cover it now anyway. Okay, so on behalf of Nathan Forge and myself, we'd like to thank you once again for taking your time out today to view this webinar. I just want to remind you that we will be having, this is the first in a series, so we're going to be having a series going a lot deeper and a little bit less self-promoting, as I said at the start. We're going to be trying to work with you to help understand the industry and help understand the products a little deeper as well. So once again, thanks for attending, and we appreciate your time.